Stop using Instagram as your portfolio was what this video was going to be titled. But then today, at the time of recording, Peter McKinnon dropped this video.
Making content in 2026 is a very different world. The state of social media and Instagram and these platforms being viable spaces for us to exist as creatives.
Now that video changed a lot of what this video was going to be, but the message remains the same. Instagram isn't a portfolio in 2026, and we're going to talk about why. Now I'll basically watch a Peter McKinnon video no matter what the subject is. I love the way that he shoots things. I love the way that he frames things. I think he does a really excellent job at just providing high quality content that I find quite inspiring, whether that's just from lighting, color grading, the way he uses his sets. I'll watch all of that, even if it's not a particular topic that really thrills me. So I got the notification and I clicked because of course I did. It just so happens that this video that I clicked on was exactly the message that I was looking to put out. Peter McKinnon, a YouTuber, a social media creator, a general creative with 6 million followers or subscribers on YouTube, I think 3 million on Instagram, was having exactly the same thoughts as me about where the platform is going and what we should do as creatives. So that seemed like a good opportunity to take Peter McKinnon's ideas and my ideas and put them together. So you'll notice this video, we've got to be a couple of minutes in at this point, and already I've given you a little bit more insight into my thought process, which I wouldn't normally do. I've run this intro as long as I felt it needed to be. Normally I'd be cutting this down to like 10 seconds and smash to title card and get straight into the video. But that's the opposite of everything that we're going to talk about today. So I'm trying to take on board my own lesson.
The recipe is always changing, the algorithm's always changing, and what people are gravitating towards is forever changing. So if you're not able to, I don't want to say if you need to like chase trends, but you do need to know what is your audience specifically asking for.
The first thing that comes up and is pretty obvious is to work out what exactly your audience wants. Does it want a heavily curated look at your particular products or at your particular art? Does it want something that's incredibly sanitized, high production quality, and just exactly what the end product is? The way I'm saying that should tell you that the chances are that the answer is not. Now, there's probably a balancing act to be had. And in the spirit of exactly what we're doing today, let's look behind the curtain. As I said, I am a content creator. I review football boots. I have done since 2019. I also work for Portfolio Box to kind of bring some of my knowledge to life. I'm also a photographer and a videographer. And overall, I get deep into the weeds of things that maybe don't matter. Even what you're looking at right now. So this color that you're looking at is designed to mimic a very particular film stock from the 1970s. This is supposed to look, or it's supposed to emulate, a Kodak 5254 film stock. Nerd! Do you care?
No! God, please, no! No!
The answer is probably no. My audience doesn't care either, and that is an issue that I have, whereby I put maybe too much stock into things like that because people don't care.
And I remember him saying to me, I don't care about your pretty I know that you can take nice photos. That's been established. I want to see what my friend is doing.
So what is the actual message here? It is to let go of some of that polish. Let people behind the curtain, let people know who you are, and get rid of this idea of needing something heavily curated. And you can see how that doesn't really vibe well with having Instagram as your portfolio, because your portfolio is curated. That still needs to be curated, but that's not what people who are following you on Instagram want. It's not what people who are on Instagram are looking for. They're looking for connection, a look behind the scenes, and not to know what film stock you've used for your visuals by just looking at it. However, if you tell them why you've done that and what it is, that might drive some interest. That is an interesting thing to bring into conversation. That is a conversation starter. A straightforward picture, in my case, of a football boot, probably not.
I want to see what Pete's doing on a normal daily basis. Like, what does your studio look like? What does your filming process look? Who are your friends that are coming through? What are the things that you're into?
Now, of course, to give those insights, to give that peek behind the curtain, the best way to do that is through video. And I think we all know that TikTok has had a huge impact on how people consume content and how social media platforms present content, what they push, what is interesting. Instagram is a video first platform. So if you want to have any kind of reach, that idea of lovely images that are curated probably need to go. If you make videos as standard, again, something that is incredibly curated, it's not getting that same reaction because Instagram's not built for it. Instagram is built for human, authentic connection, because that is what people are looking for.
I know that things are changing and Instagram is more of a video platform, if not entirely a video platform at this point. The CEO has said himself that this is no longer a photo platform.
The way that you succeed on Instagram as well, or TikTok, any short form video platform, is somewhat baked in. You have to grab attention. As I said a minute ago, how people consume content, this idea of hooks, making sure that your content gets categorized. How do you make a platform categorize your content correctly? Making sure that everything you put up has captions on screen when you're in short form, because you know that the majority of people are watching without sound on. So your hours worth of sound design aren't being seen by about 80% of people anyway. You have to play the game. And remember that statement, because we will get into it in just a second. But right here, what we're talking about is the fact that Instagram serves one particular purpose and your portfolio serves a completely different one. And they need to be treated separately. Or do they? What if you don't want to play the game? Now, this is where the giant gaping hole arrives in my theory, and Peter McKinnon touches on this as well, although he touches on it and kind of breezes past it. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper.
Mind you, this is all if we're going to play the game and participate, so keep that in mind.
So clearly, most of what we're talking about is only applicable if you want to play the game. You want to get people to engage with you. You want to build a following. You want to create a community. If you're not interested in doing any of that, then sure, yeah, you can use Instagram as your portfolio and you can have a wonderfully curated grid. It's not what Instagram's built for, but it's certainly what you can use it for, but you shouldn't expect to have success if success is deemed or determined by reach, metrics, and numbers generally that Instagram throws about the place.
Maybe don't post all your polished photos, put them on your website as a portfolio, and just use your Instagram as the guy that they're here to see.
on a day-to-day, this is what I'm working on. And if you want to see this work as a completion, then maybe you can have that control on a website.
Yeah.
On a place where your work can sit, where you can proudly say, this is no AI. This is me showing off the best of me as a portfolio.
However, by not doing these things, not looking to increase your reach, not looking to have more followers, to build a community, are you then missing an opportunity? So yes, you now have your portfolio on Instagram. Great, no problems at all. But you've missed all of these opportunities that Instagram does present to you. So that makes Instagram a tool, not the tool. And it can't be everything. It can't be both a perfectly curated portfolio and a very personal, one-to-one, behind-the-scenes type vibe where someone gets to know you. The two things don't usually mesh together. So you need multiple tools. Instagram is just one of them.
And then the Instagram is more of how that book that you see on my website, all of that came to be. If you want to see how that whole thing works and how he gets to where he goes and the cameras he uses, that's all on his Instagram. He shows everything. It's so much fun.
This leads us to both a problem and a solution, but it's a solution that you might not like, because I can confirm it's a solution that I don't like. I'm just not wired this particular way, and I have to force myself to think this way a little bit and work this way a little bit more. And this, of course, all revolves around AI. AI is here. Our feeds are filled with slop. And as creatives, again, whatever creative industry you are in, you are way more susceptible to being impacted by AI on social media than others. If you are a photographer, the chances of an AI photo kind of infiltrating your space is much higher. And similarly, your photo being mistaken for AI, if you're taking those really high quality polished images, is also quite high and can be infuriating. So that's the problem. What's the solution?
You want me to post crappier versions of my photos so that they get more engagement and people are convinced that I'm not AI? Because one of the arguments he was saying was AI is getting so good that when it's put up against professional photography, now when people are scrolling, it's becoming hard to distinguish what's fake, what's real. But authentic stuff that's not polished, that's not good, is very easily distinguishable as real.
Now, this is, of course, an insane problem to have, because what I'm really saying is that your photography is too good. AI is getting better and better and better, and is getting to a point where it's starting to become more indistinguishable from things that people can actually create, from genuine product, genuine creative work from people. So what do you do to combat that? Well, you make your content worse. Make your video worse. Make your photo worse. Have issues within it. Have general elements of it that are not quite perfect. Now, this can be problematic. For example, maybe an architect. Probably not something you can do, but the likelihood is you're slightly less impacted by AI in this way anyway. But something to be very, very clear on, AI is coming for us all, whether you are embracing it or not, and you have to find a way to beat it. And the way to beat it is authenticity, and authenticity means mistakes, means not being polished. Now, obviously, that's not a great look for a portfolio. If you are going to create content, you're just going to pick up your phone, don't know, oh, there it is. Pick up your phone, film something, get a little something, a little snap of what's going on during your day. That's not what you want on your portfolio. It feels authentic, it feels genuine, it starts to build a connection, but it's also not anything that you want anywhere near a highly polished, really great looking portfolio. So once again, 2 different tools. Use Instagram for one, your portfolio for another. Now, this might be one of my favorite lines from the Peter McKinnon video, and admittedly not something that I had in my original plan for this video, so all credit to them. I've definitely lifted this.
You change how you reference your audience, and you realize that it is a community and not a commodity.
I think that's a really important thing to speak about, is that your followers are a community, or at least they're a community that you can create and build on. They're not a commodity. They're not something that can be traded or bought and sold. You are building something more than that. To reference my own social media, one of the absolute best things that's come out of it is the community. Now, of course, my content provides the basis for that, but I have people that keep coming back. People that want to have a conversation with you, people that will go to bat for you at all times about all things, people who are going to engage under your content about things that they are also passionate about. And they don't do that because I have the greatest content. They have it because I interact with them in a certain way, because I let them see certain things. And I will admit, I am not particularly good at this. I'm great at interacting with people and having that conversation, but creating content that specifically shows a little behind the scenes or something a little more raw, I'm not particularly great at it. So if I'm not great at it and I still feel like I've been able to build a really good community, imagine what the opportunities are if you really double down on this idea that you want to go one-to-one. You want to start building that more parasocial relationship, which sounds a bit markety and maybe a bit predatory, but it's not. It's just simply what you're doing. You are building relationships with your audience, which again, isn't something you can do with a portfolio. Now, of course, I'm not saying you don't need a portfolio. Let's be very clear on that. You do. Otherwise, you wouldn't, and I wouldn't have landed some of the jobs that I have previously landed. And my social media does feed into that. It can funnel from one place to another. My great community, my behind the scenes, some of my content, yes, the number of followers that I have gained, they all lead into getting jobs. But in order to get that job, you still need that finished piece to be able to show people. You need the portfolio, but one part leads to the other. They all work together. So, to answer the question, should you stop using Instagram as your portfolio? I think the answer is clear. The answer is yes. In order to maximize the impact of everything you do, you should treat them as 2 separate tools. And you should use Instagram, or you should use other social media to allow people to connect with you, to build a community, and to look behind the scenes, to bypass the AI allegations in order to be seen as authentic, to generate connection with people. Because that is what people are looking for. They want connection. They don't want to feel like maybe they're buying from a brand or they're engaging with a brand. They want to feel like they're interacting with you, not somebody else is managing your account because it's so perfect, something else that Peter McKinnon references, but they're engaging with you. Be vulnerable, be open, be authentic, and use that because you're, I'm hoping, a great person. So let's show everybody else that and let them see your art through the process, see your creativity through the process. And then, if they want to, and if it's relevant, you can funnel them to your portfolio. I obviously implore everybody to go and check out that Peter McKinnon video, and I say thank him. I don't know him, but I thank him for kind of giving me that inspiration and for making me present this in a completely different way while reinforcing some of my own ideas. And with that, I will leave you with a thought and a clip from the man himself.
YouTube and social media and all these things can just be so like such polished versions of an artist that it starts to look like there's no unpolished versions of that same artist. And I think showing the unpolished side is equally as important these days, if not more so important, especially for everyone that's watching, so that they get the real picture, not just the fabricated, commercialized version of the person that they think they know.